Moving forwards onto the second target of disability. Disabilities are a very wide spectrum, ranging from impairments such as the inability to walk, to blindness. Therefore, exercise restrictions are highly dependent on the type of disability a subject suffers from. For example, the same exercise restriction would not be given to a blind person and/or person in a wheelchair, as they both have very different needs. Within these slides, I will be focusing on blindness. However, one similarity within disabled exercise is typically the activity requires a specially an adapted environment or equipment for the disabled person to partake. For example, a blind person may wish to play football as a form of exercise. To allow them to play the sport, the equipment may be adapted, such as a regular ball is switched out for a beeper ball, which makes a sound allowing the blind person to locate the ball to play the sport. Building upon this, when working with a blind individual, it is important to firstly establish their overall physical health, as they may also suffer from other issues as well as the blindness, which must be taken into consideration when prescribing exercise. Although if a subject is completely healthy apart from their eyesight, that would enable them to perform normal levels of exercise that a typical person would be able to perform with nothing holding them back apart from their eyesight, enable them to perform vigorous exercise without the worry of injuring themselves. According to mayoclinic.org, you should aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise per day to maintain overall fitness. This can be applied to blind people as well as normal people, as exercise will strengthen the cardiovascular system required to pump blood around the body, as well as strengthen the respiratory systems, which, if maintained to a high standard, will significantly increase the subject's life expectancy. However, for the blind subjects to partake in exercise, activity will most likely need to be adapted to better suit them. For example, as previously stated, the beeper ball in football. When prescribing exercise to a blind subject, all of this must be taken into consideration, although some activities may be able to be conducted without adaptations. For example, the majority of gym equipment, running machines, rowing machines, etc., will be able to use by a blind client without adaptation, possibly requiring small amounts of aids to initially set them up. Where this would be beneficial to the blind individual, as it could positively impact their self-worth, as it would show them that they're able to do normal activities such as work out all by themselves without adaptations or external aid. As we can see on these machines presented on the slide, once they're going, they don't really have to do it because they're just performing linear motions. They can just go back and forth, up and down, and they don't require their eyesight for that. As a result, when creating an exercise restriction for a blind client, I would split their weekly activity evenly between specialised adapted team sport, such as blind football, cricket or basketball, and gym sessions, accompanied by a rest day following each gym session to provide the body time to recover. An example of this can be seen on the slide presented, with Monday team sports, Tuesday gym, and then a rest day, and then repeating. This is because a team sport will prevent the reason I chose a team sport is because it will prevent social isolation, which can occur if an individual is housebound, which would allow them to get out of the house and socialise, building both their physical health and their mental health. Therefore, the team-based sports, furthermore, the team-based sports are majority aerobic-based, meaning they will develop the individual's cardiovascular system, reducing the risk of heart attacks, clots, and strokes. Whereas the gym sessions would focus mostly on the anaerobic systems, strengthening exercises, the muscle fibers and bone density, such as using machines such as the chest press, lateral pull down, etc., which should all promote muscular growth while also supporting healthy bone density. The combination of both of these physical activities, team-based aerobic sports and anaerobic gym exercises, would promote high levels of overall physical health to aid the disabled individual. Progressing on to the contraindications for disabled within physical activity. The risk factors depend greatly upon the disability of each of the individual, as each disability creates its own personal set of risks. However, in response to blindness, possible relative contraindication would include the obvious risk of not seeing things, as they could fall over, trip on things which will injure themselves. Although this risk is not fatal, precautions can be implemented to reduce the risk, such as a partner who just overwatches them to prevent them from falling over, or just removing dangerous objects away from so they can't fall on anything sharp or dangerous to hurt themselves to greatly reduce the risk. In response to absolute contraindications, provided a blind individual's health is to a high standard with good blood pressure and good cardiovascular health, no absolute contraindications should be present to physical activity, as no significant fatal risks relate directly to a healthy blind person performing physical activity. As a result of this, it would be safe to allow them to perform normal exercise, vigorous exercise, as long as they have their doctor's prescription to say it's fine, and all the implementations are implemented to reduce the risk of the relative contraindications occurring.